This is a JTP audio podcast.
Sometimes talking with friends feels like role-playing. Sometimes it feels like combat. Join us at the round table and roll initiative. This is Curmudgeons and Dragons. All right, back again for another Curmudgeons and Dragons. Let's go around the round table. Today every day I've got Mr. Jack O'Connell.
That's me. Hello.
What's going on, buddy?
You know, not much. Just having a grand old day today.
You should. It's gorgeous out there.
It's wonderful outside.
We should waste
inside.
We should waste it by playing video games.
Well, I'm technically outside. My window behind my computer's open, so it's like the same thing.
Yeah, that's what outside is. Outside is inside when you're looking at outside.
Mm-hmm.
Mr.
Like
Justin Franco's here.
Hello.
How you doing, bud?
Oh, you know, it's May 6th and I work in a Mexican restaurant, so doing great. My back doesn't hurt at all. Not tired.
Imagine if Mexican restaurants were the same as day after Easter and Valentine's Day. So like May 6th, you go get discount tacos.
Oh, that'd be great.
Like the leftover tacos they couldn't sell yesterday.
That might not be as great.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to eat at a place that is selling yesterday's tacos.
Yeah.
Well, then
it's like getting sushi at the gas station. Like that's just a no.
Yeah, definitely don't do that.
More than once.
Yeah.
Maybe twice.
Good old New York.
Listen, sometimes you're desperate for a little bit of fish.
Beach season's coming up, and sometimes you need a little gas station sushi to do.
Dude, Penn Station sushi just hits different.
But it killed someone on Scrubs.
Yeah, it did.
It's a real TV show.
Fake doctors, real friends.
It is actually known as the most medically accurate medical show. They spent a lot of time making the show as medically accurate as possible.
Especially when you call it a medically accurate medical show.
Josey Diaz is here.
Hello, everyone.
How you doing, doll?
Oh, I'm doing really well. I spent 5 hours cleaning yesterday. I scrubbed my walls with bleach. I scrubbed the floors with bleach. Moving is fun.
Moving bodies is fun because that's what it sounds like you were doing.
Yeah.
Yep.
For legal reasons, I cannot comment on that. But I did just move, and I did not move into a clean room.
It's so weird. There's just this roommate is gone, and now the whole place smells like ammonia. It's so weird.
It's like, I'm very thankful for this place for me to live.
So speaking of implication of murder, I thought it would be a good idea today to counteract all these horror stories we're doing with a couple of nice wholesome stories.
Hooray.
Hooray.
Mm.
Oh, wholesome like nice? Oh, I have different stories I pulled up. Hold on a second.
Yeah, I did whole filled.
Yeah, that's the story. Yeah, I pulled up
some whole story. Yeah, I did some whole stories.
Yeah. The D&D and S&M podcast.
Yep.
All right. I'm excited for wholesome stories. I want to feel good.
These were not surprisingly kind of difficult to find. I can find RPG horror stories without even trying. But finding some wholesome stories, they were kind of hidden.
You guys are just not as internet savvy as I am.
Well, it turns out people suck more than they don't suck. So,
well, also people like
right.
to complain, and people are much more likely to complain than they are to be like, okay, like this was like a nice little thing that happened to me today. Because most people are going to be like, nobody cares.
Yep.
Well, it's true. Nobody does care.
Yeah.
But some of us
care. I care a little bit. Not much, but I care.
Yeah.
I don't give up.
Let's roll up some initiative and let's tell some wholesome stories.
Oh,
wait! I have a thought for our wholesome day. I think the last person should go first. We got to naturalize being. Don't stat shame. Ones are good now.
All right.
Okay.
Roll for reverse initiative.
It's usually 20s are good. We tell horror stories, so now ones are good because we're being nice.
Well, I gotta find.
I'll go with it. I got a 5 over here.
I have a 6.
I gotta find.
This is the reason that I brought this up because I had this many and I didn't want to go last again.
Jack, I would love it if you just said the number you rolled like once on any episode.
No. I'm just gonna keep for our audio podcast doing everything visually.
Yeah.
Well.
Yeah. Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
I'm sorry
I can't edit your fingers in
your bubble, Jack, but I am keeping with my streak of getting a fucking 1.
At least you're wasting all your 1 rolls, A, on a podcast, and B, on a show that actually wants low rolls.
That's fair.
There you go.
I'm
See,
getting
you're
them all
welcome.
out of the way now.
Josey, let's hear this story.
So I'm not going to tell you the name of this story because it kind of gives away the fun. So I run a game for my friends that is quickly summarized historical fantasy set in the early medieval ages where legends are real. The journeyman smith might actually be Wayland the Smith in disguise. The village merchant has a secret inventory of legendary artifacts. That berserker can actually turn into an animal, etc. We use a diceless system where players earn points with their actions they can then expend to boost their skills. This makes the gameplay less about random chance and more about resource management. Our cast of characters is made up of a prissy Anglo-Saxon noble who's also the party's only Christian, we'll call her the Saint, an insane murder hobo Norse necromancer, we'll call her Necromancer, a Frankish witch who might be a pyromaniac, we'll call her Pyro, and a Norse Gale healer who's a bit of a flower child. We'll call her the Hippie. We're all friends who've done tabletop together before, so we play pretty well off each other, which means zany concepts usually get a shrug and a sure why not, as I ad-lib lore to make it work. Which is how the Frog Kingdom happened. As their first adventure, the party investigate an old Romano-British? How do you say that? Doesn't
Romano.
Romano?
Ray Romano, British.
Yes,
Ray
Ray
Romano,
Romano.
yes.
Say that.
Okay. The party investigate an old Ray Romano British ruin that is
Dads love
supposed
him.
to be cursed. I don't know why. It's also on contested land, so there's some danger from local warbands as well. Once they enter the city, they are swiftly blocked by a local chieftain and his warriors who suspect they're up to no good and discover, to their dismay, the city isn't just cursed, it's haunted and plagued. To escape, they'll need to break the curse. Group splits up to explore different buildings around town, talk to ghosts, and find clues. They figure out the curse originates from a witch who's been living down in the sewers for a couple hundred years. Eventually, they stumble across the old bathhouse. I give some ambiance about how it's been overtaken by pond scum and frogs. Hippie tries to talk to the frogs, which is endearing but not very helpful. Enter Necromancer. Necromancer uses the points she saved up to cast a spell that will allow her to talk to frogs. She then asks the frogs how to break the curse. I did not prepare frog NPCs. I did not expect to need frog NPCs. So I begin to ad-lib, saying that a frog comes up and introduces himself as an elder of the great frog kingdom of the Baths, telling them his people are plagued by an evil sorceress who drags away many frog warriors to use in potions and talismans, plus other helpful information. Naturally, this is delightful to the party. They swear to slay the witch and free the frog kingdom in exchange for their help. They go off, kill the witch, and inform the frogs of their victory. The frogs praise them, declare them eternal friends to the kingdom, etc. The local army is even so impressed by the curse breaking they allow them to leave unharmed. Necromancer asks if she can keep frog speech ability. I let her have it. The next adventure, Saint's brother, an adopted NPC, caught the plague back in the cursed city, and the chieftain who ambushed them is not happy about them intruding on his land. His son sends them up to modern-day Scotland on a diplomatic mission to get in his father's good graces and tell them about a holy war that can heal Saint's brother. The crux of all this turns out to be a treasure hidden under an enchanted lake. And how do the players learn how to get to the treasure chamber? That's right, they ask the frogs. At this point, I should add that our system uses a reputation and legend system that handles rumors. The Great Lake Kingdom is different than the Great Kingdom of the Baths, but they heard the legend through the froggy grapevine to help our heroes out. This is the point where I start naming the frogs and adding them to the NPC sheet. Party gets the treasures they think will be the most plot relevant and head out. They're able to use them to secure a tenuous peace with various Viking chieftains. At this point, real life starts intervening with sessions, so we have a few light side missions in the area. In one, Necromancer's family is looking for land and sends the party to scout some out. One requirement is that the land needs to have a waterway big enough for long ships. So who do our party ask? If you guessed frogs, yes. Not only do they ask frogs about a good place for a human village, they also relocate the frogs to an out-of-the-way pond free of boat traffic. The entire River Frog Kingdom shows up and holds a formal ceremony where Necromancer and her companions are declared honorary frogs, tadpoles are named after them, titles are given, etc. Necromancer gets married at one point, and the frogs show up to literally sing the song of their people. Here's the real kicker. Way before the Frog Kingdom was twinkling in my players' eyes, I'd already planned out adventure number 3. It's going to be a journey to Pyro's hometown to unravel some swan maiden cursed animal prince stuff based roughly on the Frog Prince. The frogs are going to be plot relevant. None of my players know. I really hope they don't read this sub, and I can't wait for them to find out.
What a pleasant story about frogs.
Is the song of the Frogs people, It's Not Easy Being Green? I wonder.
I
thought it was Rainbow Connection.
I hope so. I think it's actually a remix of the two, if you could find that.
Or is it the time that Kermit covered that Talking Head song?
Frog Trap Remix. Yeah. I like that kind of stuff where you get like a wholesome things that your players enjoy and they're just like, let's bring it back because you had fun doing that.
Yeah, like I think it makes it fun.
I like seeing when like an off the cuff joke becomes like part of the lore now.
Yeah.
When like, okay, I'm just going to say this thing just because it kind of sounds silly. And then it ends up being like the next several months of our campaign.
Well, that was like the session that we played, the 1 out of 2 session with, what the hell was his name? This guy. Hey, how's it going? It's me.
Oh, right. Well, he became like a recurring NPC, but imagine like if like we took an entire arc meeting his family and they all talked like that. And then like,
I would do that in a heartbeat.
First of all, I would never try to stop you.
I basically made lispy old hunchback Nurse Joy.
Yeah.
That's delightful.
Every town has one. Or is it only one?
Checks NPC potion shop guy ends up being the same guy.
It's really fun. Everyone I play with really loves this accent. It's a lot of fun.
Fucking Grist.
Oh, that's right. Grist.
Yeah, Grist is in every town. I'll never forget Grist.
No one does.
I would like to.
You can't.
Have you guys had any stuff in your campaigns that like started as just like a joke or something that you didn't expect to be taken seriously and ended up being a massive thing?
Yeah, for sure. I made like a one-off brothel in one of my campaigns that was located on the second floor of a pickle store, and then like 6 months later, one of my players wound up wanting to stop adventuring just so he could work full time at the brothel, filming nomish animal pornography. So that went in a different direction than I was expecting.
It's a very different direction.
I was like, oh, that's nice. Pickles. And then I was like, oh no, pickles.
Yeah, it got weird.
I don't think I want those pickles.
Pickles was the name of the goat, unfortunately.
Oh no, I was like, it's not like goats, it's like lycanthropes and shit.
Oh, that's way better. Furries.
That's furries. It's not animals.
Yeah.
What's a
Furry
yiff
porn
between
is
friends,
different.
you know?
Lycanthropes are basically the goats of the D&D world.
Yep.
Yeah.
Aren't goats
I don't know
the
if
goats
I
of the
necessarily
D&D
agree
world?
with
They
that.
definitely are.
Oh,
It works.
It is spoken, so it is so.
It works if you don't think about it and try not to pick it apart.
Yeah, it works if you don't think that it's wrong.
Josey, that was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you.
These are fun. They're supposed to be fun.
I always feel like that I bring such short stories because then Josie's like, I have 6 pages I'm going to read.
I cannot help that this is how I am.
Jack, with your that many, you're up.
This many. All right. So I feel like we shit on DMs a lot here, which is, it hurts me on the inside.
Fun and easy,
So now-
yeah.
We
No,
deserve it.
It's my favorite.
How'd you know my two nicknames in college? So I made a nice little DM thing where people help the DM and like the DM because it doesn't happen very often. I just want to be liked is really what I'm saying. So title of this is DM Gets Busy, Players Step Up and Make DM Proud. So my players are the best, simple as can be. I just wanted to share something awesome that's going on with my D&D group. For the past few years, I've been working on my bachelor's in web development and design. Also in that time, I started DMing and playing D&D with a group of friends. While other friends have drifted away over time, we've all managed to stay together, playing almost every Sunday for about 4 years. Our 4th anniversary will be in August. This is also 3 years ago. So hopefully you guys are still playing. It's 7 years. Anyway, I've guided them into the game, essentially getting them all hooked in the first session and creating dungeons for them for the past 4 years. 3 campaigns, a lot of laughs, and most importantly, epic victories. But in a race to finish up my degree, I decided to basically fast track my last couple of classes, which unfortunately meant that my free time would be disappearing and I wouldn't be able to put in the same time and love into crafting the dungeons. I told them that I would not likely be able to run any games for a few weeks, assuming that would be the end of it and we would just not play for a while. Instead, my players looked at each other and just kind of shrugged. One turned to me and said, "Hey man, no worries, we'll DM." Today was the first day of all of my players running D&D one-shots for me to play in, so I don't have to play and I can just come and play. And honestly, it was some of the most fun I've ever had and one of the proudest moments as a DM. I watched these players grow from never even touching dice to full-fledged nerds, and I could not be happier. Today, I played a happy-go-lucky dwarf artificer construct. I never even made an attack at enemies. I just supported the entire time, passing out healing draughts and throwing thunderstones to knock enemies over. I just wanted to share that. Hopefully it gives you a smile and it's a good reminder to talk to your players. Communicate. I assumed we just weren't going to be playing at all for the next couple of months because of it, and they proved me wrong. TLDR, D&D players are awesome.
So that's
Aw,
cool.
That's nice.
Yeah. It was. It made me happy on the inside.
We're not just a party, we're a family.
Yeah, it was cool because I've been in that situation a lot where, I mean, you can attest to this already, that I start DMing and then I get really busy with stuff and then can't do it, which Jason has personally attested to. And I have everything.
We played once.
We did play once for like 12 hours though, so I made up for it a little bit.
Okay, so it was kind of like 3 or 4 sessions. We played like
Yeah,
3
it
or
was a
4.
lot.
We played 3 or 4 times once. I guess
Yeah.
that kind of counts, right?
Yeah, that counts. Yeah. But my thing is that like I always plan everything out and I have it like the sage set and I really, really want to do it. But I just, especially running the brewery, just gets so busy out of nowhere. Like days just fill up like crazy. And it sucks because
You're going through your expansion and everything now too. Like,
Yeah, it sucks too because-
that's massively busy.
yeah, it's a lot adding all that stuff. But I always feel bad because I'm like, no, I really want to play and I really want to do this. And generally what ends up happening is like you don't play for a while and then people kind of fall out of the rhythm of playing with each other. And then you play 1 or 2 more sessions and other people get busy and it kind of like just filters out. And that sucks because I've had plenty of campaigns do that. But it's nice seeing them be like, oh no, like we can't play. Like we can absolutely play. We'll just do random one-offs and we'll just have like a little bit of fun here and there and still get together. And that's hard to do. So it's nice seeing that like, something didn't fizzle out. I mean, this was also 3 years ago. So hopefully they are still playing together. 7-year campaigns are very long time to play together. But
Mhm.
I don't know. It just made me happy that, they found a way to keep playing together even when, one of their guys got busy. And the DM is like, it's kind of need a DM to play D&D. And to see people who kind of just started playing D&D say, oh, I think it'd be fun to DM and do these one-shots made me very happy.
Yeah, I mean, DMs are the goats of the D&D world. So
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
I'm still pretty sure that goats are the goats
Yeah, so
of the D&D world.
Passed around the pickle shop. Yep.
But no, it was a cool story. And I just like people like, my advice to people who like when you run in that stuff with your DM is find ways to still get together, even if it's like board games or something, to keep that like regular thing of seeing each other like this. So when I couldn't play with Jason, this is kind of like my regular, talk to people once a week and keep that kind of like thing going rather than just be like, well, I guess maybe we'll see each other in 3 weeks or maybe it'll be a month and then you kind of all get busy and don't see each other. And that's how you lose friends.
Yeah. And, and we're adults. Like it's so hard to like have normal schedules with other adults that are living their very, normal adult lives and have completely different schedules. And it's hard to keep a consistent thing. This is, we're not teenagers who have the same high school schedule anymore,
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of thing that I think people like forget about. I guess side note from D&D, but this led into the D&D conversation is I think a lot of people forget that in high school and college, all you have is free time and your job is to do homework and not be an asshole. And then you become an adult and you get really busy, but you haven't experienced not seeing your friends. And then you feel bad like it's your fault, but everyone's doing the same exact thing. So I got that in D&D and stuff where like when I couldn't play with Jason, I felt bad. But then he was like, no, you're an adult and I'm busy and people just get busy. So don't put it on yourself that you're getting busy. Everyone does it.
Yeah, there's at least 1 or 2 times where you're just like, I can't do it this weekend. I'm like, oh, good. Thank God. Because I can't do it this weekend.
Wholesome D&D.
Yes.
Yeah.
See, this is way better than talking about shitting your pants or being weird.
First of all, disagree.
Yeah,
why is it always
like-
my stories that are singled out?
I don't know.
Because you're standout. You always pick good ones.
Am I the
we're like,
breakout
hey,
character?
I've
we fought this weird thing. You're like, this one time this guy pooped himself.
All right, Justin, what'd you roll?
6.
I think
6,
you're
I
up
got
with a 5 there, kiddo.
So I like how Jack is like, all right, so low rolls are good, and we all rolled like crap.
Technically, we all rolled great. Yeah,
we all rolled great under the new normal.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're welcome.
All right. With my 5, I'll go ahead and tell mine here. This happened today to my first PC ever, and it was too good to not let you guys know about it. So I'm relatively new to D&D. It's been interesting to me since long ago. but I had doubts whether I could ever roleplay good enough. So for my first campaign character, I built myself a character which just cannot socialize at all. Meet my Moon Druid Shifter. He's been living 8 of his total 25 years in the forest, true to the lore of shifters, maybe a little exaggerated. He has to cover the fact that he's a shifter. The people around him think they're just as dangerous as lycanthropes. He thinks in himself too, therefore he's very closeted about this. Think being gay in a Middle Eastern country level of closeted. He isolated himself from society and re-emerged only 8 years later at the start of the campaign. Other players in the party are the Rogue, the Bard, and the Warlock. They're the core of the group, very charisma-based characters. They never fail to set up an encounter for my Druid to see him fail and get a laugh out of it. There's the Artificer, who's a quiet player who rarely roleplays, relevant to the story. And the Paladin, who's a nice player who cooks for the party. That says it all. As Destiny would want it, I took quite a liking to roleplay. This meant Druid would often talk to NPCs, and with me role-playing his hilarious fails at small talk. This became a running gag to the point where and they don't give the PC's name, so PC's name something up became a synonym for we had to get out of town lest we want to be crucified by an angry mob the next morning. Think like we just Josey'd up this entire town.
Listen.
We gotta go.
That's just a bard thing.
When this happens, we roll a d4 to see if my socially nope Druid would know how to react to things. This led to some IRL hideous laughter moments, which I do not regret. Neither does my party, hopefully. My wonderful GM has picked up on the negative charisma thing and made an NPC I had to talk with to progress my story arc. I loved it, but the Druid absolutely did not. He saw that she was a shifter just like him, and as said above, he despises them. Add that to the talking to someone thing, and there's a reason to panic. The party, and I mean the players, not the PCs, don't know about the whole shifter thing. The Druid's keeping it a secret, and assume that he's just nervous because he likes her. So thanks for reading that far. Here's the actual story.
Oh, good Lord.
Relevant backstory.
I don't feel as bad about how long mine was.
Now I think shifters are the goats of the D&D world.
Why is everything the goat of the... Why can't goats just be goats?
Goats can be goats. Everything else is also goats. We're all goats.
Yeah.
All
Everything
goat campaign.
is goats.
Oops, all goats. The party walks away from a church they received the quest at. The NPC is also there, so Druid decides to go talk to her. One bad idea roll later, and he spontaneously grabs someone out of the party for moral support. Another D6 roll passes, and the Druid grabs the Artificer, the worst pick. Her charisma is just as bad as the Druid's. Talking ensues, and the Druid is under a lot of pressure to not spill the beans about shifters to his party while getting the information he wants. Druid is sweating bullets after about a dozen seconds, and so am I, the player. Paladin produces a big popcorn bucket, yes, in a church. The Rogue, Bard, Warlock, and Paladin start to eat the popcorn and make comments. More talking, I roll for a bad idea just to leave, and pass. Artificer returns to the rest of the party and asks Bard to provide me with some support. Bard agrees. Paladin is out of popcorn and starts cooking up marshmallows. More talking, NPC thinks Druid is a creep. Bard chimes in and instantly makes friends with the NPC over some jokes about Druid being awkward. Roll for a bad idea, nat
because
1.
bards are the best.
Obviously. Nat 1 on a bad idea roll. Druid subtly insults the Bard and storms off to the nearest park, followed by the Artificer. Bard returns to the party and they head to the next quest waypoint. Still laughing about Druid's advances on the NPC, Druid having managed to keep his intents hidden. Druid finds the park, throws himself on the ground under some tree, and just lies there. And at this point, the Druid hates everything around him, himself included. Artificer comes up to him and asks what's going on. I get a great opportunity to share some of the background, and Druid gets to rant about how he misses his woods and being alone. At this point, Artificer does something neither I nor the Druid expects. DM, I should have something small on me, like a gear or so. Can I cast magical tinkering on it twice? Sure, what do you do? I engrave a picture of some woods on the gear. Also, now it emits a sound of wind blowing through the leaves and old trees creaking. The table goes silent. Druid, don't worry, you'll be home soon. Until then, take this. I hope it helps. Imagine someone casting resurrection on your soul after you die inside one too many times. This is how it felt. That's for me. Druid thinks back to all the times he fled a social situation to the sound of roaring laughter. This is certainly something new. Yes, take a nap. I'll be around. Artificer leaves. Druid puts the gear under his head and, listening to the sounds of home, begins to fall asleep. After the session, the DM and I ruled that technically this gear was not a magic item, but rolling for a bad idea wasn't an official mechanic either. So now, whenever Druid holds the amulet of Homewoods, he has advantage on any bad idea rolls. So I'll remember this session as being by far the most wholesome thing that has happened to me in D&D.
Hell yeah,
That's very
dude.
sweet.
There's a super nice roleplay moment that turned into what we said earlier, like a silly idea that becomes a mechanic, and working with that based on nothing but good role play.
God, it's really nice to hear that all people don't absolutely suck.
That one guy is all right.
Yeah,
Actually,
except our
that's a girl.
listeners. You're all great too.
Most of you.
Except you, Cody. Fuck you, Cody.
Fuck you, Cody. Cody's not listening.
That's really nice, though. I like how, like, from a DM standpoint, I feel like I'm just like the table DM now. From a DM standpoint, I like how, like, he was like, okay, like, it's a weird little thing, and like bad idea rolls really don't happen that often. So great, you get advantage on something you rarely ever do.
I think they happen more than he's letting on, or at least in this story, it seems like they happen decently often.
I just mean general in D&D.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember the last time someone wanted to like roll for like just like to like something randomly happen like that. But it's nice. I mean, just say like, okay,
this character is supposed to be like as like awkward as possible. So anytime he role played himself into a corner, he had to roll to make a bad idea.
Yeah, that's neat. That's a really nice little thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing too is I like the DM not being like, well, technically that can't happen because this and this and this. He was just like, oh yeah, it's a little thing that really like doesn't even make a difference. So, and it makes you as a character happy. So here you go.
A bard sounds like a dick though.
Bard being Bard,
just going around cucking people. And
yeah, he sounds pleasant.
But yeah, this is everyone working towards a collaborative storytelling and everything that the game is supposed to be.
That's what it was originally, and it just got so toxic over time. So it's nice to hear stuff like, that's just nice. From like a nerd culture standpoint, D&D was always like about bringing people together. And over time, D&D became this very elitist, follow the rules, like super like, oh, only like the cool nerds can play it. But like people would complain, like I got in front of high school for playing D&D. And then like you grow up and 10 years later, you're excluding people from playing. Like you're being the same dickhead that bullied you in high school. So it's nice to hear people like actually being inclusive and hanging out and doing fun things again.
And like the rules are more like guidelines for telling a story and hanging out with your friends anyway.
I think we're going back to the original Gygax days where it's like, people are starting to homebrew a lot more and be a little bit more lenient on rules. And I think 3.5 was really rule heavy, but 5 kind of brought about a lot of like a more like, hey, tell your own story, play your own game kind of thing. And here are some like guidelines that could help you, but go nuts.
Yeah, I mean, the rules are absolutely the GOAT of the D&D world.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. 100%. Yeah.
Once upon a time, there was a D&D session with one girl in it. She was not sexually harassed, and everyone had a great time. The end. That's my first one. Then I got this other one.
Tell us the real story.
This story is called Dungeon Master Shares How He Helped His Friend's Daughter Sleep After She Called Him Dum Dum. So I guess here's the story. Be me, sleep-deprived DM, half an hour ago. Get startled by phone ringing. It's one of my players. Me. Dude, it's midnight. You good? Friend. Yeah, sorry if I woke you. Could I ask for a favor? Oh God, he killed someone. .gif. Me. Sure. Shoot. Friend. My daughter can't sleep. Could you tell a quick story over speakerphone? She loves listening to the recordings of our sessions before bed, but I left my laptop at the office, so I can't play them. Nani the heck.mp3.
Nani?
Whatever. Yeah.
Nani?
I don't know what that means, but me. She listens to us to fall asleep. Friend. Yeah, but she really likes your plot and NPC acting bits. She calls you Dum Dum Mister. Guess Dungeon Master is a bit hard for a preschooler. I would have hung up at this point. But
that sounds right.
Me. Wow. Well, if it will help her sleep, then sure. Friend. Thank you. Okay, give me a sec to head back to her room. Pause. Okay, you're on speaker. Yeah, see, it's already wholesome at this point, because if someone called me and was like, hey, can you talk to my kid? I'd be like, no, fuck you.
But I'm not allowed to.
Me. Hey, daughter's name. It's Uncle Anon. So I guess QAnon wrote this. Daughter. Happy gasp. Dum Dum Mister. I've never been happier to be called the dumdum.jpg. In this next part, he says, you ready for a story about DM improv skills engage? And I'm just imagining this as like, a wrestling announcer's voice. But you ready for a story about the time your daddy and his friends went deep into a cursed temple to save a frost dragon egg? Daughter, incomprehensible happy squealing noises. I then proceed to spend nearly 20 minutes spitballing a story over the phone for the most fascinated little girl until she eventually fell asleep. Friend thanks me for the help and says he'll see me on game night. Lay down in bed, actually feel content and comfortable for once. I should have thanked him. I am the dumb mister.
I need to know what year that was written.
That was a year ago.
Oh,
No,
that's good.
stop.
Oh, last year?
Yeah.
That makes it even better because last year fucking sucked.
God.
So it was written in very like 4chan green text speak, which
Yes.
I can tell you're not super familiar with.
Yes, I don't spend much time on the image boards. I don't hear the best things about them.
Ugh.
Oh, 4chan is the worst, but
yeah,
but they get screenshotted enough.
I,
So
I will say, if someone called me at 12
I know how
o'clock,
they
I don't
talk.
know if I'd have the mindset. I mean, I'll probably still up one, but if I got woken up, I'd be like, and they were like, "Hey, tell a story to my kid," I'd be like, "What's happening?" I would tell like the weirdest story.
Who is
This one time there was a goblin. And, yeah.
Who are you?
Once
Who are
upon
you?
a time, your dad called me and woke me up. So the next day, I murdered him with a machete.
But that's like a wedding story you tell though. That's a for life kind of story, which is nice.
I've seen that story before. It's super nice, and this is also building like the next class of players to come in when she grows up. Like literally growing up on this thing and not seeing it as something only nerds do. This is something dad does, and dad might be a nerd, but it's not seen as a negative thing. That's usually
Normalized nerd
put
culture,
into our
bro.
head when we're
Yes,
kids.
Yeah, I used to go with my friend to his family's house when they would play D&D, like his aunt and uncle. And like that was a family thing they did every week. And it was really nice. Like after dinner, everybody sits down and we pick up where we left off the night before.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope that little girl does not grow up to use crystal meth or anything bad like that. Hopefully, yeah, she just
That's
becomes
the
a nerd.
nicest thing I've ever heard you say.
That
to
might
somebody.
be, yeah. That's actually a really positive thing you said.
Yes,
And if she does, I'm sure it had
No.
nothing to do
And
with the D&D
Yeah, leave it there.
series.
Justin,
3
leave it there.
sizes that day.
Go out on a high note, Justin. Don't. I know you want to say something after that, but don't.
If you guys don't mind, I'd like to give one little bonus story here. It's very short. So I found this story in the comment section of another thread. So it's pretty short. So he says, I work at a school for the blind and recently ran a mini campaign that ran for 7 sessions. By the end, they were all so excited that they wanted to start a new game immediately, and it just made me feel so whole I couldn't wait to get started. I've gotten a lot of questions in the past about the challenges of DMing for the visually impaired, and to be honest, I gotta say it hasn't been much different. Other than trying to emphasize more on sounds and smells than visuals, the process has been very much the same. And theater of the mind lends itself brilliantly with blind students, for it does not require much more than pure imagination and a roll of the dice, which they do with either their phones or custom-made braille dice provided by a fellow Redditor. Long story short, these kids are already fulfilling my dream of being a teacher someday and just inspiring me and moving me to continue being a mentor, even if it's as simple as running an after-school D&D for them.
So wait, the dice have braille on them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably don't roll very well.
I'm actually,
Oh my god.
I'm looking at these dice now, actually, and they're,
That's not the
you can
point.
actually get these dice for free with access to a 3D printer, which most libraries do if you don't have one. The website is
Hell yeah.
dotsrpg.org. And this is a website kind of built towards accessibility in tabletop gaming. I'm not going to go into their full history and mission statement and everything, but dotsrpg.org, there's a video on there where they explain their whole background, but you can download for free the 3D print file for Braille dice, if that's something that you or someone you know might need. They do show up as
Hell
the
yeah,
website
dude.
does say $1 for them, but
That's really
there's
cool.
also there's a code to take that $1 off. They say the cart system they're using won't actually set it for free, but it does end up being free.
Hell yeah.
dotsrpg.org, the goat of the internet.
I mean, you know what? Yeah, they are the greatest of all
I'm
time.
going to show up at your house and I'm going to beat the shit out of you.
Just gonna throw Braille
Don't
dice at you.
threaten me with a bad time. I'm
Dude,
already
these are
having
so
one.
well designed to the point where they put like little pieces up so the dots are set back into the dice. So they roll like normal dice still.
Yeah,
It's
they
not the
roll totally
dots
fine.
hitting the table. It's the actual pieces
Oh,
of the
okay,
dice.
cool. That's good. That's mechanical.
Dude, hell yeah.
Functional.
Dude, fuck horror stories. I feel way better right now.
Right?
Holy shit. Like this really starts my day out in a good way.
Yeah. It should. This game should make you feel good.
I feel
Except it
happy,
usually
bro.
makes us feel really bad.
I don't like it. I feel happy and I don't like it.
That's weird. I gotta go outside and like pick flowers or something now. I don't even know what to do when I'm happy.
Oh God, I'm gonna go frolic in a field, dude.
Ugh.
I'm gonna frolic hella
Go
hard,
find
bro.
the frog
What?
I'm gonna
kingdom.
go
Watch
drink
out,
until
the
I hate
pollen is
myself
crazy
again.
today.
It's really bad. Yeah, I'm not gonna
Yeah.
go frolic.
Ugh.
I'm gonna sit at my computer and work from home and then play video games. That's my
I'm
thing.
gonna look out the window at the outside and go, "Oh, that's so nice
Bro, I'm
over there."
gonna virtually frolic so hard.
Right? Go to frolic.org.
I have work later.
I don't know what's at frolic.org, and I don't really want to find out. So
Let's find out. How do you spell
that's
frolic?
all we've got for today.
Frolic.
And thank you to the round table, Mr. Jack O'Connell,
Yeah.
Ms.
nothing.
Josey Diaz,
Hello.
Mr. Justin Franco,
Konnichiwa, bitches.
myself, Jason Portizo. Go follow us at Curmudgeons and Dragons on Instagram. We do put up D&D memes every single day. It's a great place to DM us if you have ideas or feedback about the show. I think that's all I got.
Yeah. Stay wholesome, motherfuckers.
Stay wholesome, motherfuckers, indeed.
Goats.
Thank you for listening to Curmudgeons and Dragons. Our hosts are Jason Portizo, Justin Franco, Jack O'Connell, and Josey Diaz. Produced and edited by Jason Portizo. Theme music is Crunk Night by Kevin MacLeod. Link to the song and license information can be found in the podcast show notes and YouTube description. If you like what you heard, please subscribe and leave a rating. Curmudgeons and Dragons is a JTP audio production. Practice safe adventuring, and remember, don't trust the bard with a twinkle in his eye.
This has been a JTP Audio podcast. Thanks for listening.